So yeah, greetings all. Let's jump on our meetup. It'll be like the small dive in the world of the AI and actually to the AI hype trap. We will discuss several points. We will try to discuss how and even why we should avoid several situations when we are trying to use AI in different ways, and also we'll figure out which points could help to business, help to probably the very important part of the business, the development part of the system, not only like the IT department, but also all the departments that those use AI in general. So yeah, let's try to dive in with this small introduction. So basically, nowadays it's probably the very good point and the something that have a lot of values to use AI in different ways. We will talk about the usage of the ChatGPT just because it's the most famous or even the very common thing nowadays. Because if you will ask someone, are you using the LLM or are you using the AI? Probably the next answer will be I'm using the ChatGPT or something similar, but just from my practice, a lot of people know exactly the ChatGPT. So we will try to identify several AIs that are the analogs of the ChatGPT or their competitors. It's hard to say competitors because they have the same idea to optimize our life and make it a little bit easier. So let's start from the very important part for us. This is the limitations, because when we are talking about the usage of the ChatGPT, we need to understand which points are not so cool from the first view, are even not very good from further exploration of this tool. So the accuracy issue, it's when ChatGPT can use a little bit outdated information. I'm not pretty sure about something like the caching stuff or some stuff when ChatGPT trying to predict the answer based on previous answer by the context, something like that. But we cannot believe it in 100%. So the accuracy could be good enough. But if you're talking about, I mean, chatting with the chat about very important questions, let's probably try to avoid very important information that probably it's even better to test, whether to ask someone else or another AI. Just also then it sounds reasonable. And meanwhile, the context misinterpretation is something like when we are trying to speak with our chat. Probably we even have our predefined prompts, several items to boost up our work. I also know the repository. I know the influencers who are just sharing their prompts, and we can use a lot of the same context, but even with the same context, ChatGPT can react in a different way. So the context sometimes actually is important, but it could be missed. It could be a little bit different, even with the same prompts. But it's important thing. Also as important as the ethical concerns. I mean, from basically for now, ChatGPT have trying to be self-censoring. It's trying to not to talk so very emotional, not to. It also avoid several themes, but sometimes we can we can even read, we can hear some news when the ChatGPT wasn't very polite. It was even harmful for people. So it's not a big deal when you're talking about a business stuff, because when you ask a question in some way, it will probably respond you exactly in the business way or in the same way when you ask. But it could be the reason why we should avoid some themes when you're trying to communicate with ChatGPT. Also, the fact checking limitations. The big problem that ChatGPT will never say that I don't know. Probably it's not the correct information. It can even share the links for the several resources, share some links to the articles, but not always to the resources that we can say that they are proven. So I can say that this information are exactly can be called truth, information or the source of truth. That's why that's still the limitation, because it was the limitation from the very beginning of the uh, ChatGPT or the LLMs. Also, the overgeneralization, that's probably also the part that I can say could be the part of the question when you're talking about ChatGPT cannot say I don't know, and that's why it tried to give an answer for everything, and by the words that could be interpreted in a different way. So they can say like this weather is fine. What is fine weather? That's a good generalization, but we need to speak much more with this in the context of the chat to realize what exactly means several items there. Because generalization helped to answer, but it couldn't solve the problem why we are speak to the chat in this context. Also, some providing of personal opinions, it's hard to say because when you ask the artificial intelligence own opinion, it's probably hard to say because it's already used the other opinions. It's opinions from other people, from other system, from other source of information. So we just analyze and speak exactly in a language that it already know. No, so that's could be the problem, and it it doesn't. I mean, ChatGPT is not a personality, so we just try to speak like a person, but it's not a person, and we need to understand this item even when it sounds very closely as the person can speak. Also, the safety restrictions. It sounds like the most common question for now. That's the security, the safety, also the some content policies. But it's pretty important to understand from the business perspective. It's probably not the best idea to share very confident information, some numbers, like the numbers about some reports numbers, some invoice numbers, credit cards numbers, and then, but also from the dev perspective, that's a little bit weird when you share all your project's code to the ChatGPT, or share some very very personal information about your users, clients, or something that we can actually say the personal, because nowadays system can be hacked and some informations could be steal, and nobody knows how this information will be used in a and in which way it will reach you. So that's the important, but the great limitations that probably will not be somehow avoided. So, but we need to always remember several items here. It can just help us to understand the context that we are working with the ChatGPT. Just understand the limitations, understand why these limitations and how they can affect your chat. Okay, also the performance bottlenecks. ChatGPT as a platform is very great. It has a lot of performance capabilities. Actually had a lot of resources, and but those resources are somewhere, and someone actually is the owner of those resources, and these resources could be limited for some limited by the tiers of the users. So it's important to understand that if we need the performance, we probably need to pay more. We need to increase the budgets for the users or for our company employees or anybody who works with us or on us. And it's very important to understand that AI can generate a lot, but it could cost a lot, and we need to understand from how to decrease not only the possible input information but also the output information, because it's also cost us some money. I mean, if we can save some inputs, say some context, and also receive like more output, then we should provide more input to gain more output. Let's probably try to a little bit understanding this. It can affect the performance, and it also can this performance cost us money. in any way, being the developer, being the sales, being any kind of profession, we should understand that the performance has its own bottlenecks, and to increase this performance using the ChatGPT by OpenAI, probably we will need also to spend a lot, not a lot, but spend money there. Okay. Also, the security risk in this era when we are trying to reach some compliance, reach some certifications from some, or just following by some rules. We need to understand that ChatGPT probably uh, don't ChatGPT team probably doesn't want to follow or even cannot follow all the rules because this flow of information are pretty big and it's probably several companies, not only OpenAI, can handle your data in some way. They can even ask you that they to share the data, or they can just collect some data, even legal, but they collect something because it's really easy to explain why it's exactly happening. Because if you're using the free tier, probably you are the product. I mean, they are using your inputs, they are learning by your inputs, and they need to, even if they are not saving the input, they are handling it. And anyway, you helped them to involve, and your information somehow could be stored even in modified way, but it could be stored. So security risks are a very harmful thing, and that's something that we need to follow and keep in mind, that not to share information that could harm our business. That's pretty important. And it's not only about the using the correct technical instruments or the frameworks or something like that. That's about our usage, because system itself, OpenAI, is a big, is a mature company with a great product, but the security risk could be mostly could be on us. So that's why we need to try to handle it. And it's, as I said, we are talking about the usage of exactly the ChatGPT from the OpenAI. We can have our on-premises, our resources on premises, and use some versions, but not of the ChatGPT, just LLM. But it's another question. We are talking about exactly the most common and the popular tool now. Yeah. Also, the maintainability issues. When we are trying to use ChatGPT, for example, this will be mostly from the development part, but we can also say that it could be development, not only like the writing the code. We can also say like planning, or just creating the new product, the new projects, or just help to our projects to become bigger. We are talking about the stuff when ChatGPT can lose context. It can lose very important portion of informations, and restoring this information could be impossible, or could be very cost effective or ineffective. And in this proposal, when we are trying to build something big, we need to understand that the context actually is limited, and this context could be good enough to cover some very some determinative issues. I mean, in a short time, when this issue can be solved. For example, in case of, I don't know, the 100,000 tokens, it could be good. ChatGPT can remember all the information, but when we will try to use this framework, I mean this chat with the specific context, as our main tool to build and involve the project, and always use this in a daily basis, in daily routine, we will probably can reach a situation when it will be, this context window will not be enough, and we will have the problem to involve our project based on the previous data, previous context, or several items that we are trying to use during this chat, or during chatting. So it's important to understand that maintainability is not, not a very good thing that we can use in the ChatGPT. We need to probably try to solve not the strategic tasks, but only like some local tasks, some tasks that we shouldn't expect that will be involving during the lot of like the long period of time. Just something that we can, just something that could be finished in a very short distance. It could be a very good case to use ChatGPT, and I mean, context window is not very low, but we cannot use ChatGPT for it could be easy to explain when we are talking about the role like the product owner when this is exactly the role that should know everything about the product's history, and probably also try to predict the product future. That's something that I can use to explain what exactly the maintainability issues can be reached and can be handled, and why we should understand how to avoid these maintainability issues. And yeah, we can also talk about the alternatives here. I guess mostly of those alternatives are already known by you. For example, like the Google Gemini. That's the AI tool by Google that actually can handle your data in exactly the same way that ChatGPT in case of how it do it. I mean, like how they are trying to build exactly the chat. You can also use their last model like the Gemini Flash, and it's also cost money, but it's a little bit cheaper for now. It's hard to say because it's cheaper in the state of now, in the state of today. I mean, in several months it could be changed, so we just need to understand it exactly in this timeline. It's cheaper, but it doesn't have a lot of capabilities that actually ChatGPT has. Something like the GPTs, also integrations, and a lot of stuff that actually ChatGPT already have because it's more mature than the Google Gemini. Google Gemini was published a little bit later than the ChatGPT, or not a bit, or not a very little bit. Also, the Microsoft Copilot, also that's the very important tools. Microsoft try to push this tool in every product, in every place. They trying to push Copilot, and that's also the great tool. But as I said, there are several items like it was presented a little bit later than the ChatGPT. It's not so good and it also depends even on your operational system. I guess Windows is a great one, and the chat and actually Copilot integrated there. But when you're using another laptops or another operational systems, it could be probably harder to reach it from the box and reach all the power. But when we are talking about Copilot as a chat, it's very cool from the business perspective and also from the development perspective. The only one actually problem, and it's also the problem for the Google Gemini, I guess it's sharing information to Google and to Microsoft. Just as probably the subjective opinion, but I guess it could work. And the Claude, that's the Claude. That's the great tool, like also the chat and also the very helpful extensions for developer that can help us to find information, to find and reasoning answering. It's when this chat trying to explain why this decision or this answer actually was presented to you. It's trying to explain the flow, how the thinking process. The perplexity is a great tool to find something. I guess I have the colleagues who are using this tool just instead of Google, because this perplexity has a very user-friendly interface to find something. Mistral AI, that's something that can help to it's the advanced AI model that can help to find information. That's probably the most. It's very open source thing, and you can use in a wide range. But I just put this name because we need to know that this alternative is exactly present. And Meta AI, that's probably mostly for the Llama model. It's not exactly the chat, but something that Meta trying to implement and probably will push as the very big player in this AI race, because for now I can say that they did a lot of work, but it's still not so popular. But as I said, I just tried to find the alternatives that can work, and the companies behind those alternatives should be famous, something like that. Yep. So AI integration strategy, it's simple. When you are trying to integrate ChatGPT in your system, there are a lot of ways how to do it. We can from the perspective of the our from IT department perspective, we can use this during the development, during for make our engineering workflow much faster, much more effective. But also we can integrate this for sales, for managers to optimize daily routine tasks, just a simple email sending stuff generation, some report generation, but it should be wisely. We cannot always use AI and show the results as they are. In case of if just the raw response from AI and we will show this and even not check this or just use it as it is because it's just fast and I don't want to spend my time there, not the best practice. Let's try to make the symbiosis there and try to use the hybrid mode when people are trying to optimize very common things, but they should always, even those simple things should be tested and should be checked. And some very important things should be done by or can be done just like using AI as a partner. I mean, to ask this partner to spend some time to explain your idea, receive some answers, playing around those features, and but the person who are using this tool should be responsible to prepare the final result, not use this answer as the final result, but prepare the final result by using this answer. It could be very important. It sounds like the things that we are all already doing, already use, but I guess we can find several persons who just use the ChatGPT, copy paste, and voila. Also, when we are trying to design some application, we can say that ChatGPT is not very cool to design. It's pretty cool to give you some inspires how to implement things, also show you the patterns. It could also say that several tasks were already done in this way. You can use this way, but it's only for the templates. I mean, not even for the templates. It's something that can help you to start the implementation, but it's not something that can show you all the process, help you to expand these workflows, expand your system, expand your project. It's just something that can help you to adapt already created patterns to your idea. But it's pretty important not to use ChatGPT as the main source of your architectural part of the project. In case you can create the components that can be used in your system, but you should probably try to implement these components, but not allow ChatGPT to do everything for you. It's from my personal experience, it was useful to use ChatGPT as the idea generation tool, create the very or not a very small, even just the good POC, then trying to implement this POC in existing system, or just try to play around this POC and make it a little bit better, but by myself, but just never plug and play and not use this style. Just develop this or try to use ChatGPT to create the greatest MVP, the greatest MVC variant if you want to implement, and then play with this in your system, or just play with this MVC as much as you can, or as much as just spend as much time as you can spend there. Yeah, and also evaluation of tools and frameworks. Probably it's pretty critical to use a lot of frameworks. Frameworks could be our self-creating frameworks, our just actually our tables are also our frameworks because we have anything that can help us to do our work there. Even our laptop is the part of the table and help us to solve our problems. Actually, that's why we are not calling frameworks only tools in development, but we call frameworks anything that the combination of anything that can help us to reach or complete our task. That's why it's important to not use ChatGPT, from my opinion, as a framework. It's a part of our framework. It's probably could be the huge part of our framework, but only a part. It's pretty cool to have someone that can recommend you something or just delegate. We can delegate this something, the part of the work, but it's just the part of the framework. I'm trying to work with ChatGPT mostly as something like the simplified version of Google, just trying to find some knowledge from several libraries, several documentations, and something like that, but only a part. I'm not trying to use ChatGPT in my daily tasks as the problem solver. It's just something that can help me to solve my problem or find a way, or even add some ideas how to solve or create something. And yeah, during this sessions we have discussed items based on nowadays experience, in nowadays cases that we can reach with ChatGPT. Also important exactly the ChatGPT. If you are using something else, for sure you can have different cases, but we are talking about the very common tool, and we also try to speak about the alternatives and speak about some cases not only from the development part, but also from the business part or from the part that we can say like the management part of the things, how to use and why it's still important. I mean, there are almost 3 years when the humanity trying to use any LLMs or artificial intelligence in this way. I mean, in chat way, but it's still there are several items that were popular even 3 years ago, and they are popular now. So it's not outdated. I'm just trying to reach those topics again. And yeah, thank you for your attention. Thank you for listening to me. And if you have some questions, please ask. Great. So I will share the contacts, and you can also find me uh, by reach out the Agileway side. Thank you for attention again, and see ya. Bye.